Hello and welcome to the video. So we're going to continue with our exam style questions for A-level and Scottish Higher Maths. Question 5. A line makes an angle of 60 degrees with the y-axis and passes through the point -2, 0. Find the equation of the line. Okay, so I've drawn a graph of the line with the angle of 60 degrees to the y-axis, as you can see. Passes through the point -2, 0 over here, and we want the equation of this line. So it's a straight line, so it will be in the form y equals mx plus c. So we need to find m and c, and we're done. So m, as you know, is the gradient. C is where it cuts the y-axis, this point here. But we can find that once we find m. So we need to find m first. So m is the gradient, but we're not given any information on the vertical distance. We know the horizontal distance is 2 from this point here. So this distance, if you consider this little triangle here, so this distance down here is 2. But this little distance going up here to the y-intercept, that is unknown at the minute. But we don't actually need to know that. So this question demonstrates how we can solve these problems from knowing just one point and an angle. So if an angle between the vertical y-axis and the line. Okay, that's all we need. We've got enough information to answer this question. So we have to use angles and trigonometry. We have to use the fact that we know the angle to solve it. We're not going to be able to find the gradient the traditional way using distances. We have to use angles. So first thing we need to do is notice that that angle 60 is the same as the internal angle in the triangle in here. So that's also 60, this pink angle. And because this little triangle down here is right angled, then, so this is a right angled triangle in here, then I'll mark a little right angle there. Then that means that this angle here is 30, right? Because the angles of a triangle add up to 180, so 60 plus 30 plus 90. Okay, so that means the angle that the line makes with the x-axis is 30, right? And you should all know that another way of finding the gradient of a line is to take its tangent of the angle that it makes with the horizontal. So the angle with the x-axis is 30, so if we take the tangent of 30, or tan of 30, then that will be our gradient of this line. So that will be m. So let's start writing things down. So the equation of the line is y equals mx plus c. So m is equal to the tan of 30. Now if you don't know what the tan of 30 is, it's a well-known value. It's 1 over root 3. But let's show you why it's 1 over root 3. So let's have a wee look at this triangle over here. Now you don't actually need to do this for the exam question. You won't need to go to all this length. It's only 3 marks. It's a standard angle that you should know. It might be given in a formula booklet as well. So if we draw a little right angle triangle here, and you know Pythagoras' theorem, the square and the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So if you draw this triangle here, which is identical to the one we have in the question, so 30 is the angle here that the line makes with the x-axis, 60 is the angle it makes with the y-axis, 30, 60, right angle, add up to 180. Then Pythagoras' theorem says that the square on the hypotenuse, which is 2 squared, that's 4, is the sum of the squares of the other two sides. So if we set up this system here like this, Now this is not what we have over here, but it's equivalent. It's scaled. But why? Because we have the angles. We've got the same angles. So the lengths of the sides don't matter. All that matters is the angles. And we can construct any triangle we like with any length of sides we like once we know the angles. Okay, so we've constructed this one just to demonstrate that the tan of 30 is equal to 1 over root 3, sorry. Now you should also know, I'm sure all of you may know, sine of 30 is a half. If you know that, then you can construct this triangle very quick. So this is how I done it actually. I knew that the sine of 30 was a half. It's a well-known result. And as I say, you can go and derive it yourself by constructing the triangle and putting in the lengths of the sides. So what I done was I made sine 30 equal to a half. So sine 30 is the opposite over the hypotenuse, so that's 1 over 2. So that means I know two sides already. And they're both integers. The reason I've done it that way is because these are integers, these are nice numbers. So all I needed to then find out was the length of this side. And I used Pythagoras' theorem. So that squared plus 1 squared is equal to 4. Okay, so then that must be root 3. Okay, so it's the square root of that squared minus that squared, square root of 4 minus 3, square root of 3. Sorry, square root of 4 minus 1, so that's equal to the square root of 3. Okay, and then you can quickly write down the other trigonometric values. So the cosine of 30 is root 3 over 2, adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan of 30, opposite over adjacent, 1 over root 3. Okay. Now, as I say, you don't need to do that in the exam. So normally, because this is only a 3-mark question, so normally you would just go straight to here. This is a well-known result, and it might actually be given in a formula booklet anyway. Okay, so what's important is that you know that that is equal to the gradient once you know the angle that it makes with the vertical. So that's that. Now that, as I say, that is equal to 1 over root 3. All right, so now we can start writing our equation down. So that's equal to 1 over root 3x plus c. So we're nearly there, we just need to find c. And how do we find c? Well, we have our initial conditions. We have a point here, which is minus 2, 0. So c is equal to y minus 1 over root 3x. And then if we evaluate that at minus 2, 0, we get y is equal to 0 minus 1 over root 3. So what's that? That's 2 over root 3. Okay, so that's c. So now we can write the final answer. So the final answer is y is equal to 1 over root 3x plus 2 over root 3. We can leave it like that, or we can tidy it up. We can take a common factor, 1 over root 3 out. We could write it as, take a common factor out. So y equals 1 over root 3 upon x plus 2. Okay, but you don't have to. You can leave it like that. So that is our solution. Okay, so that's the equation of the line passing through the point minus 2, 0, and which makes an angle of 60 degrees with the vertical. Okay guys, so it's all about knowing that the gradient is equal to the tan of the angle it makes with the x-axis, and you find that out using your laws of angles, and you know that the sum of the angles of a triangle is 180 and that kind of stuff. So you can do all that very quickly. This is all basic stuff that you would have learned way back. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching the video. Please like, share and subscribe, and I will see you on the next video.